that you're roaming around town with it, but I'm gonna go with the subdued one. You're an idiot. I know.
Just as we go live, yes.
Adam, just so you know, like what we're
Ah,
doing is
kiss.
we're on Zoom, obviously, but we do this. Stream it to Facebook as well, so people can watch. They can submit questions. You know, what usually we'll save questions for later in the show. So just so you know
You
what's
got
up.
it. Fantastic.
We're just
Adam,
waiting to go live.
Adam, Mary Jones, who is a big part of Spring Nuts, and I saw you just a few weeks ago at City Winery in Chicago.
Oh, that was nice. That was the opening of my solo tour.
I was telling them I've seen you with the full band several times. I've seen you solo, and they're both equally good, just in different ways.
Listen, you have good taste. That's what I'm learning tonight.
I'm showing you live, Ryan. I got you.
All right, I will share to. Where's my share button? I have no share button. Oh, there we go. All right, Spring Nuts.
Okay.
It's a little glitchy on my end. Just be patient with me, please.
All right.
Howie, maybe you could do us a favor and go in
Yeah.
and just tag
Yeah.
Adam and look
I
at
could do
Connie
it.
like in the comments, just so that might pique our.
Were you able to share it just now?
I did.
Okay, so you shared it already.
Yeah. I see the numbers going up.
You're a hit, Adam. You're a hit, I tell you.
Hey, man.
Very good.
Who doesn't love Adam?
Yes.
I could give you a short list of a few people.
It'll be a very short list.
All right,
I
we
don't
are
see it yet.
live
I'm
and cooking.
trying to see if I can see it, but I don't see it yet.
Oh, I think we're okay. The numbers keep
Stan.
going up here.
Yeah.
No,
Stan
I
on
know.
the-
I know it's there. I'm just not seeing it yet. But
Okay.
I will.
All right. Well, Howie,
Yep. Oh, okay,
lead us off, buddy.
guys. We are so thrilled, so thrilled to have the charismatic, the dynamic, the unbelievable, unbelievable, and what a person he is, Adam Weiner. Come on, come on, come on. Well, from Low Cut Connie on the Spring Nut Cafe. So happy to have you here tonight. Unfortunately, my beautiful but very talented and does so much for this group wife, not just beautiful, does so much. Is not here tonight, but she's here in spirit. But we do have Ryan Hilligots at the helm, as usual, and we have Ocean Grove's favorite Stan Goldstein right here, and the incomparable Adam Weiner from Lokat Connie, from the tribe.
Yes. I'm trying.
Take it away. It's all you, brother.
Adam, thanks for doing this. This is fantastic.
Adam, this is
I've seen you several times, both with the band and solo. Just saw you a few weeks ago at the City Winery. Kick off your solo tour, and both are equally good, just in different ways.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Hello to the Spring Nuts. I love all the Spring Nuts that I've met. We've done a bunch of events together, and anytime I'm out there doing my shows, I see people with those Spring Nuts t-shirts. And sometimes I'll be in Iowa or Kansas or whatever. It takes me home because you guys know I'm from New Jersey. And you can take me out of New Jersey, but you can't take New Jersey out of me, right?
So, Adam, you got a new album out, Livin In The USA. You got 3 tracks on it that fully drops, what, middle for early July, is that correct?
Yes, July 3rd, the full album, and just this coming Tuesday, like 6 days from now, our lead main single from the album, which is called Can't Be Wrong, is coming out. And it's been going good so far, but I hope people enjoy the album. It comes out in 2 months. Yeah.
Living in the USA is a fantastic track, obviously, speaking to the times that we're living in right now. Um, so when you record, are you using the same band? Like I know your band has kind of fluctuated over the years. Are you using the band that you use live on stage, or who do you use?
Yes, exactly. I've had many different people lineups of the band because, guys, this is the 15th year of Low Cut Connie, believe it or not. People are surprised when I say that because it wasn't until about 8 years ago that most people heard about Low Cut Connie. The first 7 years, we were really a small, little, tiny, little freckle, little cult. And I was still working as a teacher. It wasn't until the summer of 2015 that I quit my last day job. And it's really been 2016, 2017, we were growing, but 2018 was the year that we kind of hit and really grew. And but yeah, I've had a lot of very talented people in the band over the years, and what I do is when I'm on tour, I'll just grab a studio in any city on an off day and work. It's a very chaotic way of recording. I carry around tapes and hard drives of stuff that I just put pennies in the jar. And it's a kind of an old school way of doing it, but that's how I like to do it, Ryan. And being tour tight, which is the band playing a show every night and then going in the studio in harmony, with each other, to me, that's the best way to do it.
Dude, I have to tell you, the first show I saw post-COVID, and we'll get to the tough cookies and the COVID episodes a little bit later. But the first concert I saw post-COVID was you and the band at Stone Pony in Asbury. And that's the first time I knew you, Donna from Bruce Funds, who I think you know. She was the one that turned me on to you. But we celebrated her birthday. We went to see you there, and like it knocked me out, man. Like you had two female singers, you had the band, yourself in the pony. Like it was phenomenal.
I mean, that was a special show because that's the comeback shows after COVID. And, I was very busy during COVID, but, I'd wake up in a sweat having nightmares that I'd have no fans when I came back from COVID because we laid off for almost 2 years. And this business, guys, is tough. People move on, and you have a lot of reasons to not go see live music. And I was worried that the fans wouldn't be there. But coming back at the end of 2021, oh my God, those shows were amazing. And that Stone Pony show was an all-timer. And we've ended up playing Asbury at least once a year since then. It's been really special.
Well, I don't know what her name was, but there's a girl that I've seen, a girl, lady, person, musician, played with you, and that night she was wearing like a bathing suit, as like that was her clothes, was a bathing suit. But I've seen her play the bass, the guitar, she sings, and she didn't stop moving the whole night. It was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, the clothes, the energy, I've been really lucky. I'm the thing I'm the best at, guys, is just being a casting director, and putting the right group of people together in the right moment with the right songs to create magic, and try to create a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario. Um, and sometimes I've found talented people in very unlikely places. My current drummer, Jure Lewis, who is one of the best drummers in the world right now. I mean, he's just incredible. He played, he was a burger cook at a restaurant in Philly where I used to go.
Wow.
And he used to play open mics. And somebody tipped me off that he was a good bass player. And he'd never toured, he'd never performed for more than 50 people, and I just saw a spark in this guy and hired him and took him to Europe. His first show he played with me was in front of 5,000 people. And you know, you just never know where you're gonna find amazing people. And I've really enjoyed over the years finding and putting together groups of people and to try to make magic that way.
And it works. You do a good job of it because I've seen, several different players with you in different places, and it's the structure of the show is always there. The players, kind of come and go as need be for their own purposes, for your purposes, but like the structure of the show is there, and they all do a phenomenal job.
Thank
Somebody
you.
asked, I meant to ask you this the night I met you in Chicago, Low Cut Connie. Can you explain us to where that came from?
Ryan, I wish I had a better story. It's so like it's it's a stupid story.
That's
But
fine. That's why
you
we love the
know,
nonsense too.
at the end of the day, you pick a name in about 10 seconds and then it becomes your life. You know what I mean? I, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like at 10 seconds, and then 40 years later, it's like tattooed on people all over the world. And so I can't stress to you guys enough that there was absolutely zero intention of this being a serious long-term band. This was a total fuck around. It was supposed to just be one weekend. I got a group of friends of mine together. We made a record in 3 days just for fun. I was about to start my first full-time teaching job, and we were going to just do this weird little summer thing. And everybody else they were all in other bands. And I didn't intend for it to be a thing. And I had a friend in Philly who threw a New Year's Eve party who wanted me to play the New Year's Eve party. And he said to me, "You need to pick a name for the act that's going to perform at the New Year's Eve party." And I said, like, this is a good opportunity for this little group of guys who made this record to do one show ever. I thought it would be like a legendary thing if this album that we made would be given away for free at this one show, and then the band would never play another show. And so I called up the dudes. I said, "What should we call this one band that's going to play one show ever?" And one guy said, "We should be called the Low Cut." And the other guy said, "I think I've always wanted to be in a band called the Connies." And I didn't really like either name, and I looked them up and those names were taken anyway. And I said, "Well, I gotta choose. Let's put them together. Low Cut Connie." And the dudes, they said, "That sounds kind of cool, but what is Low Cut Connie? What does that even mean?" And I said, when I hear that phrase Low Cut Connie, it makes me think of a New Jersey diner waitress. Because where I grew up in New Jersey, we go to diners all the time, and there'd always be that sassy ball buster waitress who would yell at you if you didn't finish your food and call you hun and all that kind of stuff. But on Saturdays, they'd wear something a little low cut, and it'd be like, that they would let their hair down a little bit on the weekends, right? And so I drew a picture of what I imagined this woman, Connie, would look like, which she's a middle-aged woman who's been through some stuff in her life, but she's still out there trying to have fun and get through life. And that became the low cut Connie image. And Ryan, I'm as shocked as anybody that 15 years later, I'm doing this and people have that drawing tattooed on their arm, and I travel the world, and with this low cut Connie thing, I truly cannot believe the way things have worked out.
There you go, Sharon. That was the answer. Great story. I know you said that you wish it was a better story, but it's a pretty good story. Um, Danny Clinch said the last week, he says, after all the stuff I've done, I'm just a guy from Tom's River. And I was like, wow, like here's a guy that's like at the top of his game. He's worked with every musician possible, and he's just a guy from Tom's River. And it was like, it just blew my mind.
I mean, I relate. Danny and I have become so close, and he shot the cover for my new album, and we got to talking a lot about that stuff growing up in Jersey. And if you're from New Jersey, guys and girls, you're born with an underdog mentality. In fact, think about the greatness of how many truly great musical artists have come from New Jersey. It's staggering in almost every genre of music, right? From Queen Latifah to Patti Smith to Frank Sinatra to, on and on and on and on. Bon Jovi, like why somebody needs to do a cultural history of why people from New Jersey, you know, what is it about the culture that shapes you, that sets you, and it's not because people encourage you and say you're the best and you're going to be the best. It's not. It's because you're born with an underdog mentality. I live in Philadelphia now, and Philly gets made fun of, but Philly makes fun of New Jersey. And when I lived in New York for 13 years, New York City, New York makes fun of New Jersey. Everyone around the world makes fun of New Jersey. It's the bottom of the barrel, even though I think it's the most beautiful, amazing, culturally rich, soulful place. It gets made fun of. You're the kid that gets bullied. And I think that becomes rocket fuel. It becomes rocket fuel. And when you talk about how Danny's from Tom's River, when I was in high school and my first couple years after high school, I used to work in the mall. I worked in a couple different malls, but one of the malls I worked in was the Deptford Mall. I worked at Macy's. And I found out while I was working there that the high school that Patti Smith had gone to was just down the road. And it was shocking to me that Patti Smith was from this town. She moved around, but those years of her life, she lived in Blackwood, New Jersey, which is the Deptford Mall is right there. And understanding that this amazing artist, groundbreaking artist, generational talent, performer and writer, Patti Smith, came from a working class family in South Jersey and went to secretarial school there. It reminds you can do it, and you can shake people up, if you can find your path, however, but you're going to have to work really hard to do it. And I think there's something about that New Jersey mentality that it puts that little you can do it, no, you can't. It's what some people call imposter syndrome. And I think that has a lot to do with Bruce's story, with Patty's story, with Queen Latifah's story, with the Bon Jovi story, even with the Frank Sinatra story. It's people from around the way who become trailblazers. That was a long-winded answer to your question, but I get very
No,
passionate about New Jersey.
that's why we do this. This is what we love. We love it when we ask a question and the guest has to think about it and put something out there, and it was fantastic. I mean, just a few weeks ago, I was fortunate to attend the American Honors Awards, thanks to Mr. Goldstein here. Dionne Warwick, and Bruce gave a phenomenal induction speech, rattled off about 10 of her songs, and she got up there and she says, "You really do know my stuff, don't you?" And he says, "Yes, of course But I think you're onto something, Connie. It's like, or Adam, sorry. It's like Memphis back in the 50s. Like New Jersey is like a crossroads of like all the different cultures, black, gospel, Italian, Irish,
Yeah.
uh, the gamut. It just the gospel,
And
rock,
there's a huge history of jazz that goes through New Jersey, and there's a huge history of salsa and Latin music. Like Celia Cruz lived in New Jersey for like 50 years, right? It, it's it's just I hate to use this phrase, Ryan, but New Yorkers use a slightly derogatory term. They use that term bridge and tunnel, right? To talk about people from the outer, the boroughs, whether it be Long Island, North Jersey, or whatever, who come into the city. And it's used, that expression. Maybe people disagree with me, but it's used with a little bit of slightly derogatory phrase. But if you think about some of the greatest artists, East Coast artists of all time, whether it be Billy Joel, Lou Reed, Bruce Springsteen, Patti Smith, Frank Sinatra, on and on, they're bridge and tunnel people. And there's something about going, being not from the city, but seeing the city in the distance and having that mentality of I could go there, I could get there, and art is the thing that's going to get me there. It's really been a big part of my life, and maybe it's cliche, but it's really true.
Hmm. Well, on that topic, since you brought it up, you may be bored with this. You've probably been asked this 1,000 times, but just for people that are watching that don't know who you are, don't know your backstory, if you could just give us a little bit of background as far as you growing up, your musical influences, how you got into music as a performer.
I mean, I'll try to do the short version. I went to Cherry Hill East in South Jersey. My family lives in Marlton, which is, 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia in Burlington County. Um, I grew up in a nice, loving, middle class household where my parents bought a piano and they wanted my brother and I to take piano lessons, like every good Jewish kid of that era. Um, we want you to play, show tunes and uh, Barry Manilow songs on the piano.
Yeah.
And I uh, I loved the piano, but I really wanted to play guitar because from the time I was really young, from the time I saw Back to the Future and La Bamba in the 80s, when I was a little kid, I was just in love with old school rock and roll. Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, Chuck Berry. I just loved that 50s rock and roll sound. And I want to play guitar, but my parents were definitely pushing me to take piano lessons. And I did not excel at piano because I had a kind of like a learning block where I could not read music. I really just couldn't learn how to read music. But I discovered that if I heard a song once or twice, I could sit down and play it on the piano. Uh, and I would hear a Motown song and I could just pick it out and play it. And this led to a lot of crazy misadventures. And by the time I was a teenager, I felt that what I wanted to do was be on stage. And by the way, I was a very shy person, very introverted, but I discovered that when I was on stage, you know how some people get social anxiety? They go to a party, they're amongst people, and they get anxious. I get that way. But when I'm on stage in front of, I don't care how many people, it goes away. I feel completely calm. I could be in front of 10,000 people and my heart rate is level. But if I walk into a cocktail party with 20 people I don't know, that's when my heart rate goes up. And I sort of figured out that my place was going to be on stage. And at first, Ryan, I thought I was going to be an actor, or I got into this performance art thing in New York City, the experimental theater wing. But the first week I was in New York City, I got a job playing piano in a restaurant. And I've worked continuously playing music uh, since that day. And by the time I was 19, I realized that my calling was in a musical setting, not a theatrical or film and TV acting setting. I want to be playing my songs in front of people. And when I was 21, I got a job in a gay bar playing piano. It was a drag karaoke bar, and that really set me on my path because I saw in this drag karaoke bar a vision of like never be boring because my drag queen friends were so outrageous. And the people that would come to watch these drag shows were so outrageous. And it was just the most fun environment to learn and to become a professional performer in. Honestly, Ryan, it spoiled me because when you go back to regular old straight people world, uh, it almost seemed square to me. And so it gave me this bug about entertainment should be exciting and charismatic and sexy and never be boring. Just never be boring. And from that day forward, I always start putting bands together. But I have to tell you guys, this is the part of the story where it gets a little weird. Um, I had no success in my 20s. None. I toured, slept on floors, couches, went to Europe. I did all the backpacking back of a van, so many shitty gigs. I played potluck dinners, old age homes. I played piano for ballet classes. I would take any gig that anyone would give me, and I had no success. But one day, guys, I'm going to write a book just about this period of my life because really what happened is it made me into the performer that I am today. It made me into the person I am today. You know, my favorite book about performing is a book by Steve Martin, the truly brilliant stand-up comedian, genius Steve Martin. He has a book called Born Standing Up, and it's all about his stand-up career before he became successful, because he was kind of a late bloomer. And when I read that book and I learned that Steve Martin bombed for 10 years before he became the Steve Martin that we know, it contextualized what I was doing in my 20s because I was just bombing and it was life at the bottom of the performance food chain. And if you can get up in front of an audience of six drunk people in a dive bar in the middle of America, and you can win those people over, then getting up in front of a bunch of fans, 1,000 fans at the Fillmore or something, that's so easy. Performing in front of a hostile audience in a bar, that's hard. And that's why stand-up comedians, they perform in front of hostile audiences for years, and that shapes them, right? That's how you get a Robin Williams. That's how you get a Richard Pryor. That's how you get a Steve Martin. Uh, Years of hostile audiences. And I went through that in my 20s. And when I was 30 years old, guys, I took a full-time teaching job and I thought that I would never have a music career because I'd been trying and nothing had happened. And I was so wrong because this little stupid little side project that I started when I was 30 changed my life.
It's a fantastic story. We'd love to hear that story. A book. Somebody said this to Danny last week. Dude, you should write a book. And he's like, write a book? Who would want to read it? And we're like, dude, you've got 1,000 stories. Like we're all fascinated with this. Like we want to see this in a book form. For those of you that haven't seen Adam perform, again, equally as good in different ways, solo and by your with the band. The first time I saw you, I was like, oh my God, this is like Jerry Lee Lewis and Little
Hmm.
Richard and Billy Joel and like all these different performers combined. You're just so energetic and you're giving it all out. And I've seen you play to 50 people. I was up at a couple years ago in Milwaukee. You were playing for 50 people. I've seen you at the Count Basie for Light of Day. I don't care whether it's 10 people or 1,000 people. You're playing as equally hard, no matter what the crowd is like. Which that truly blew my mind.
Well, thank you. I mean, being a performer is what I'm obsessed with. And there's a thing it's a term that I coined. It's called stage IQ. Um, if you are a quarterback on a football team, you've got football IQ. You understand the game to such a degree that you can anticipate the game and make the game go the way you want it to go. If you are a performer, you need to develop stage IQ. And stage IQ at the top level, and I'm about to, in a minute, name who I think the true geniuses of live performance in rock and roll are. But at the top level, the master level, what your skill is you can make people feel the way you want them to feel, right? That's the gig. And you're on offense, not defense. And I've been lucky to see some of the greatest performers of all time. I saw James Brown.
Mm.
I was still a teenager, and I saw James Brown outdoors in Philadelphia. And I remember thinking, that's the bar. I mean, that's the bar. And in a way, it is still the bar because there are many, many other genius stage performers who've come after, but I think he kind of set the bar. Tina Turner was a stage genius.
Mm.
People talk about genius and brilliance when it comes to songwriting. People talk in terms of recording or whatever. They don't talk enough about the brilliance of the skill of performing, right? And if you look at Tina Turner's career, long before she was filling arenas in her middle 40s and older, she was a stage genius. She could do it all. She was just she had it all, you know, she could do everything. And but there's many others. Prince, Freddie Mercury was a stage genius in my opinion. Mick Jagger is a master. He created the footprint of being a frontman of a band. Uh, there's many, but Bruce Springsteen, you can talk about his recording career and how impactful that's been. But for me, the gift that I've gotten from Bruce is being a kid growing up in New Jersey and seeing him perform a bunch of times. And it set a bar for me. And it's a bar I still reach for. But these are some of the masters of the stage. Somebody like Bruce is still at his age commanding these audiences of tens of thousands of people and making them feel connected to each other, connected to him, making them feel elevated, good when you want them to feel good, cry when you want them to cry, laugh when you want them to laugh, and also not notice that it's happening to them. You know, that is the skill. And I no matter what I achieve, I will always be a student of the game. I always want to get better.
Yeah, you brought up James Brown. For those of you watching, if you've never seen it, go back and find the Tammy show from like
Yeah.
1965.
Yeah.
The Stones insisted, Mick and Keith insisted that they were going to finish the show. And James Brown was like, okay, white boys, let's go. And he absolutely burned the house down. And Mick and Keith did not want to go on after that. It's
Well,
like, you
it's
asked
funny.
for it.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Ryan, because for many years, before I would go on stage, I would watch that James Brown clip from the Tammy show.
Ah,
And by the way, Prince did the same thing. Prince used to watch that Tammy show clip from 1965. And, you know, if you watch that performance, you watch two things. You watch somebody have total mastery of the stage, from the music to the movement to the sound to the timing to the vocals to the close. It's total mastery. But the other thing you're going to notice is how stiff Mick Jagger looks going on after James Brown.
Hmm.
And Mick Jagger has said many times since, I learned two things that night: never stand still and never let James Brown open for you.
Good advice.
If you watch the Rolling Stones from 1965 or earlier, Mick Jagger used to stand still and he'd kind of make poses and he'd play maracas and he'd sing, but he didn't run around. He didn't dance. After the Tammy show, that motherfucker never stood still again. And Tina Turner taught him a number of his moves when they toured together for a while in the late 60s, which is documented in the Gimme Shelter movie in the beginning, that tour with Ike and Tina with the Stones. She taught him how to do that, right? And he
Right.
never, and actually, that's something I really respect about Mick Jagger. He's always been a student of the game. He kind of got better and better and better and better at being Mick Jagger over the years. And another performer, though, Ryan, that I'd like to mention because he's been very influential on me is Iggy Pop.
Hmm.
I saw I saw Iggy at Little Steven's one and only Underground Garage Festival on Randall's Island. If anybody was there, they'll remember that Stevie had a rotating stage where one band would be finishing while the other band would start.
Hmm.
So they booked like 50 or 60 bands for the day. And then the stage broke. So it was the biggest clusterfuck of a festival I've ever been to. It was raining. They had to cut all the sets in half, and then you'd have to sit there and wait in the rain while they would, miserably have to get one band off and set the next one up. It was insane. But at the end of the night, the reunited Stooges with Iggy came on, and it's like time melted away. I've never seen a performance like that before or since, where somebody just completely uh, took over 10,000 people in a minute. It didn't take, there was no warm up, it was no ramp up. It was within 30 seconds, he had 10,000 people losing their minds. And the thing that I learned from that performance, and it's a subtle observation, I think, is that once in a while you see performers who are selfless. Most of the time, you see performers that are performing for themselves. They're sort of posturing. But seeing Iggy taught me that you can be selfless and you can sort of donate your body to science, and your performance is for the audience. It's not for yourself. And I've heard Iggy talk about this in his way, and he says, I'm a short order cook. I'm not a chef.
Mm.
I am looking at people saying, what do you need? 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 He wants to give everybody what they need, which is different than a performer who is there to be admired, if you know what I mean. And that's something I really, really, really learned and have it's been a central tenet of how I do my art.
That's beautiful.
The other thing you mentioned was Queen and Freddie Mercury. For my money, like those 22 minutes of them being at Live Aid, that's the best 22 minutes of I don't care who you are. Elvis, James Brown, you name it. Those 22 minutes, fantastic. The guy held 100,000 people in the palm of his hand.
Yes.
Seeing Bruce, like I never had the opportunity given my age, but seeing Bruce is probably the closest I'll ever get to that. But like those 22 minutes were just unbelievable.
He was a stage genius, and again, like that's the difference between being a recording artist and a performing artist. Like it sort of doesn't matter what you think of Queen, whether you like their music or not. He's a hypnotist. He's going to hypnotize you on stage. It doesn't matter if you know the song or like the song. He's got you, you know. And that's a skill, you know. It's a gift. And once I discovered that there are these people out there who could do that, I had to learn how to do it. And then I did it, and I've become addicted to doing it.
We're getting a lot of comments about your performances during COVID, tough cookies. So just know that you're getting a lot of thanks for what you did during that time.
Oh, thank you guys. That was a beautiful, as difficult as a time it was, the quarantine years.
Mm.
It was kind of a beautiful time too. I think very fondly back to these 100+ episodes that we did from my house in my underwear. The you know the thousands of people around the world actually who tuned in to see me in my underwear singing and talking and just try to make people feel good for a couple hours a week. And it was as much for me to stay sane as anyone else. I miss doing it actually, and I sincerely hope that that kind of live, unscripted broadcasting is something that I'll get to do again in the future. Stay tuned.
All right. I think what it was, and Howie, you can come in.
Yeah.
I think just during that time, like you did your others, some other artists did the same thing. Melissa Etheridge,
Mhm.
countless others. But it was just the humanity. Like you were like you were waving a white flag of humanity. Like, hey, we're still alive here. Music, art. Like we're getting through this together. But you brought people together. They felt like they had some community. They felt like they had a place to go.
You know, the thing is that during that time, and we mentioned it on the show a bunch of times, that, it was a hard time, for everyone, but, just from a business standpoint, it was a very hard time for musical artists, and everything got shut down, shows got shut down. And then, we had Williams Honor talk about it. We've had, Bobby Mahoney talk about it, whatever. And, but those shows really did give us some normalcy in really insane times, and it brought us the music that we desperately needed, and the artists themselves desperately needed. And like you said, one of the first shows that you saw, was Adam performing right after COVID, and getting your feet wet, and it was like, it's like being born again. Like, you're taking your first steps, you don't know what to do and whatever, but everyone was, we learned not to take it for granted either. We learned for like a good year and a half, 2 years, we didn't have music to go to concerts, and when we came back, whether it was Bruce or the Foo Fighters or anybody you wanted to name, it was great to see the artists back on stage doing their thing. And I remember, I mean, from a spring nut standpoint, when we started getting our feet wet again with the serenades that we had to cancel, and one of the first thing again, when I do the serenades, I throw things out there, I dream big, and I say, okay, let's see what's gonna stick. And I remember we went to the American Music Awards, and it was the first one actually, and Bruce ended up having COVID that one and didn't come. But I remember meeting Adam and his father with Julie at the show, and his father is a gem. He's a diamond. I mean, really, that guy is something. Actually made my night. I gotta be honest. He made my night. And I met Adam and his father for the first time with Jules, and we got to talking a little bit, and it's great. Listen, Adam was part of the tribe, and we share that as well, and then I said, me and Jules were talking, and we just saw, we've seen, Adam perform like you have, and we were blown away because we know, it's one of those things. Like, it's one thing to hear them on the record, but when you see them, you see Adam perform live, it's like it sort of reminds you of the Freddie Mercury that we're talking about, and that dynamics that he brings to the stage. And we said, let's, again, I dream big, and I said, well, hey, Adam, how would you like to play the serenade one, this year, Saturday night, and I'll set everything up and whatever. And trust me, I'm like I'm thinking always. I'm not a pessimistic guy, but I also know these guys are very busy and they have bigger things to think about than serenades and spring nuts. So I said, but all of a sudden he said, let's do it, and I was like, really? And I was like, okay. And so we, story short, he played a phenomenal show at the Pollock Theater, and it was really, really special. It was really something. And the one thing I will say, and this is what me and everyone actually agrees upon, is that you're also one of the performers, like you said, whether you're performing for 10 people or 500, you are performing at level 10. Okay, and you're full throttle. You recognize everything. You're giving it all. You never mail it in. Okay, you're giving it, like you said. It doesn't matter how many, and maybe it's, going back to the story you told in the beginning about, those years when you had those rough years, and you appreciate what you've been through to know what you're performing for. And it was one of the greatest, parts of the serenades that we had, was to have someone like you perform. And I just, again, I know how I'm reading the comments, from the Spring Nuts, like, everyone. Okay, I got the longtime Spring Nut Jamie Brownstein saying, please come back to South Florida and perform, and then we have other people that have seen you in Jersey. Listen, for someone that was doing this as a hobby or just as a sidekick, or even when we spoke to Joe Grashecki, he was a teacher too, and he's like, he was like, this was it, and all of a sudden, a teacher became one of the greatest performers that we know of, and that's not just blowing smoke. I mean, I know just reading these comments that it's, they love you and we love you. You're a testament to your craft.
Thank you. I so appreciate it, guys. I think that one of the things to add to my little story is that now, um, I am thankful that I didn't have any success in my 20s. Um, I don't think I would have known what to do with it. I don't think I would have been ready, and I don't think I would have been sort of formed enough of who I am as a performer. The fact that I've had some success and it really didn't come till into my 30s. I appreciate it more now. And I understand what it's like to be in an audience with just 5 people, 6 people in a bar. I know what the dynamics are there, and I know, having been on both sides of the glass, that you could see something in an audience with only 10 people that you could talk about for the rest of your life, where you could say, that was one of the most beautiful nights of art that I've ever seen. And I think that if you're an artist, you should always aim high and you should always bring it. If you're going to be in an arena in front of 20,000 people, or if you're going to be in a little bar or club in front of 20 people, try to make the most impact that you can. Try to leave the strongest impression. Try to give people the best night they've ever had. Because I'll tell you something, Howie, The only thing that people remember, and I know you guys have seen a lot of concerts,
Mm.
you may forget the set list, you may forget the weather, you may forget a lot of things and details about the concert or the evening. One thing you will remember is how you feel.
Mm.
The one thing that sticks with you when you think back through decades of concerts and performances, you remember how you feel. And the job that I have, that us performers have, is to make you feel something that you will remember. That's really the whole gig, you know? And so that was a really nice thing that we did together at Monmouth.
Mhm.
And when I see Patti Smith, again, she grew up so close to where I live. She always talks about doing a job. She's like, well, we're going over to Spain to do a job, and then we're going to Germany to do a job, and then I'm going to the American Music Awards to do a job. You know, the work of a performing artist, it's a job, but I don't see that as dismissive.
Mhm.
I see it as let's put the work in. There's a job to do. I'm of service to the audience and the occasion, you know?
Mhm.
So let's go do a job. And I take it really seriously, and it's been a blessing and it's been shocking to be blessed with all these fans now. And now that I got you guys, I'm gonna keep you motherfuckers.
You're not. Well, I don't know if you know us any, but it's not like we're easy to let go either. So you sort of stuck with us.
Well, you do have the
We've
word
been a
nuts
fan.
in the title, so
Yeah, right, right.
So Adam, I'm
It's all
looking at your
subjective.
sorry, Adam, I'm
Go
looking at
ahead.
your tour. If you want to see where Adam's playing, go to his website. Obviously, look at Connie. He's got his tour on here. So you've got one more solo show, and then everything else after that is with the band. Is that correct?
yes, I've got my last solo show of this tour is on this Thursday in Baltimore. And then the band gets real busy Memorial Day weekend all through the summer. And we're doing a very, very special gig. The day of my album release, which is July 3rd,
Oh,
we are going to share the stage with Steven, as well as Joe Grishecki and a bunch of my pals
Nice.
for this big show in Freehold. And it's going to be just Jersey-tastic, guys. I mean,
Jersey-tastic. I love
Gary
it.
Gary
yeah.
Bonds,
Yeah,
Jake's there with
Jay
his band.
Clemens, the
Gary UFO.
Weaklings.
The
Yeah, it's going to be
Weaklings.
amazing. So there's that, and then the rest of the summer and fall, I'm really all over the country, West Coast, Colorado, all over the Midwest, South, and Northeast. We're kind of everywhere on this Livin in the USA tour, and I hope I see all you people out there wherever you are. It makes me happy when I see those Spring Nuts shirts or hats or whatever. Um, Music is a thing that brings us together. It's a great way to go through life, you know, is sharing music with people. Um, and I really enjoy seeing you guys out there, and I'm gonna try to do it. It's a whole new show that we're doing this year, and our whole goal is to uplift people. That's our entire purpose this year with this show.
Adam, I see on your tour schedule
You
you're
do
playing
that.
the Troubadour in LA on Friday, July 17th. Yeah, I'm sure you know the music history there, so that's got to be a great to get on that stage.
You know, I've played at the Troubadour, I think 3 or 4 times, and I never take it for granted. Just like the Fillmore in San Francisco, this will be my second time there in July. I never take for granted the history. You know, there's a picture backstage of the Troubadour of this. There's a tiny dressing room there, always has been tiny. And there's a picture of Bob Marley laying on the couch where I sit and put my stage clothes on. You know, Bob Marley laid on that couch before he went on stage. And you just think about all of these legends, true musical legends that have been on that stage, and I feel very fortunate to do it.
Hmm. Carole King, James Taylor. There's a John Lennon story from the early 1970s there. Yeah. Wow.
And of course, Elton, my
Yes.
buddy, you know, who's
Yeah, I saw a picture of you two. I never know you guys met. I saw a picture when I was looking for a picture to post today. That was a great picture of you and Elton.
oh man,
Oh,
that was the best, guys. I mean, he's been a really big supporter of Low Cut Connie. Um, in 2017, I think it was, he started playing my songs on his radio show, which is called Rocket Hour.
Wow.
And then in 2018, we got an email saying Elton would really like to speak with Adam. And then he called me and we had a beautiful conversation. It's actually, he recorded it and you can listen to it on YouTube. And at the end of the conversation, he said, I'd really like to meet you and see the band and whatever. And a few months later, Howie, I was backstage hanging with Elton John and Bernie Taupin and the whole band.
Wow.
And we hung out for like 20 minutes. He said some absolutely amazing things. One funny thing is he said to Bernie Taupin, Bernie, you got to see this kid play piano. He sounds like Jerry Lee Lewis or Little Richard or Fats Domino. And he said, you know, Adam, those guys were my heroes. That's who I learned from. And I said, well, me too, but above them is you. I learned to play piano from you.
Wow.
And that was a really cool moment for me to just sit with one of my musical heroes and as peers. And he just said some amazing things. And then he went on stage and he got through an hour of the show. And then he started talking about how much he loves Philadelphia. And then he started saying, you know, there's a band from Philly right now that I love. That's one of my favorite bands. They're called Low Cut Connie. And he went and gave a whole speech about Low Cut Connie and he dedicated the song to me.
wow.
Wow.
And that was one of the most special moments of my entire career.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah. What song, Adam, did he dedicate to you?
Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me.
Nice.
You could see
Wow.
it on YouTube. Um, and he's just been an amazing supporter of Low Cut Connie all the way through.
So looking back, if you think about it from going back from the original story, it's good that your parents pushed you into the piano than that guitar because you've mastered it and to get a compliment like that from someone like Elton John. I mean, when you're that age in your 20s or you're saying I don't want to play piano, and then years later hearing that compliment from one of the greats like the legends and icons like Elton John. And just for the record, my Jewish family also had Barry Manilow playing, and I became a fan of Low also. I just want to let you know you weren't the only
Hey,
one.
you know, it's funny because Howie, it's like the music that like I was into all kinds of rock and roll, blues, punk rock, whatever. But the music that my parents listened to, which would have been considered extremely square for that era, I love that music. They played a lot of singer-songwriter, Motown,
Mhm.
and Broadway music. And I'm a total pansexual with music. There's all different music from all eras, all languages, all genres that I love. And people found out during Tough Cookies what a music nerd I am because I covered over 600 songs and I covered Barry Manilow. And I
Wow.
and I covered, you know, songs from Annie and Rocky Horror Picture Show next to songs by Iggy Pop and the Misfits and Cardi B. You know, that was part of the fun of doing that show, guys, was showing people the beauty of music and the entire rainbow of music. There's just such a broad spectrum of musical pleasure out there for us to enjoy.
Well,
Adam,
before
are
I get
you?
ahead of, oh, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, Adam, are you old enough, Cherry Hill, to remember the Latin Casino? And did your
So,
parents go there? That was a showroom in Cherry Hill.
so the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill is way before my time, but my parents went on their second date there. They saw Tom Jones. And I'm not sure if my mom threw her underwear at the stage of Tom Jones, but when I was really young, too young to go to concerts, the Latin Casino became a club called Emerald City. And Emerald City, Prince played there, the Talking Heads played there, The Cure, the Go-Go's. It was a really cool new wave punk and rock and roll club. And it closed before I was able to go to concerts. I think there's a Wegmans there now or something. But the history is really interesting to me. How before I was able to go, that Cherry Hill actually had a lot of really cool music.
Yeah. It's where Jackie Wilson collapsed on stage
Oh wow.
in 1976 there during
Yeah,
a Dick Clark show. Yeah.
that's
Wow.
right. That's right.
Adam, you really impressed me a few weeks ago. I had to turn to my friend Mer. I think you were covering either. Did you do an NXS song?
Yeah, In Excess is one of my favorite bands, and I'm pissed they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, by the way. In Excess, I've actually covered Ryan a number of their songs. I think he's one of the best singers of that era. Um, but you probably are thinking of me covering their song "Don't Change," which is
That's what it was.
one of their
But you did it
early.
in such a way. One of the things I love about covers or good covers, like people do bad covers all the time, obviously. But what you were doing was, I like, it took me about a minute, and I turned to Mary, and I'm like, is he doing an XS right now? Like you did it in such a way that you were making it your own song or your own influences, but it was that song. The structure was there, but it seriously took me a minute or two to like realize what it was you're doing. I was like, God damn, that's really good.
Well, thank you. I mean, I can't. I gotta be me. If I'm not gonna cover a song and imitate the artist, I'm gonna do it, my way. Um, and if I love a song, I try to find my way into it. It's like an actor has to learn lines and try to make you believe it. When you sing a song, I want you to believe it. So,
So I guess for some of our viewers here, obviously we're a Bruce-centric group, but we love to have these cafes, all the different people that we've had on here. Any crossings with Mr. Springsteen that you'd like to share, or any?
sure, yes. I will share, I've met Bruce a bunch of times, but you always remember your first, guys. And I'm gonna share this story from 2018, and it's funny because it was only a few months after I met Elton John. Um, and that same year, I had met Danny DeVito in Asbury Park. Like that year, I met so many people I truly admire. Um, on on Sirius XM, on the E Street channel, that channel's been really good to me over the years, and all the way back in the very first years of Low Cut Connie, Dave Marsh played me and interviewed me on E Street Radio. And Dave Marsh was really a champion of Low Cut Connie from the beginning. There was a few people in the industry, music critics and DJs, who spent the first 5, 6 years of my career telling everybody that I was really great and they should pay attention. And people were like, "Who are you talking about?" Well, Dave Marsh interviewed me on his radio show in 2018. And I happened to be going to see the Broadway show, Bruce on Broadway. And Dave said to me, "Oh, well, you're going backstage to meet Bruce tonight." And I said, "I don't think that's happening. That's not something I know about." He said, "Yeah, no, you are." And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I got to the play Um, and about 5 minutes before the curtain, uh, a guy with an earpiece came over to me and said, "You're Adam from Low Cut Connie?" Yes. And he said, "You see that door over there? The very end of the show, as soon as the lights come up, go to that door and I'll take you back." And I said, "What's happening right now?" And, and he said, "He wants to meet you." And he said that, and the lights went down for the show to start. And I was completely dumbfounded. Like, is this really happening? Does Bruce Springsteen know about Low Cut Connie? And is this real? And it sure was. I went through the door. We went back there, and I had to pee really bad. I'd been waiting a couple hours, and I thought, what if I go and pee now and I miss him or something? So no. Anyway, I came out of the bathroom, and Bruce was standing there, and I walked over to shake his hand. I said, "Hey, Bruce, I'm Adam." He said, "I know, low cut Connie, right?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Come here." He gave me a hug. And he said, "Everybody keeps talking to me about the band, and you're from Philly, right?" I said, "Yes, yes, yes." He said, "I gotta come see a show. Everybody tells me it's absolutely sensational." And I thought that that was like it, that was it. And he said, "Come sit." And
Wow.
we sat for about 15 minutes with him and Patty. And um, I'm not going to share all of the conversation, but it was pretty amazing. It was very encouraging. Um, and ended with, I'm going to see you soon. And I walked out of that theater, and it was kind of like that Elton John thing where I was like, I can't believe this is real, really happening, but it was sincere. So I was like, wow. And then fast forward 3 years, and I got a phone call, and Bruce was doing a charity event with Stevie at the Asbury Lanes
Mm.
with Steve Buscemi and John Stewart and Nona Hendrix. And he said, "You've been chosen to open the show," because Bruce and Stevie, and they were all speaking, they were all reading passages from Little Steven's book. Nobody wanted to play music, they just wanted to speak. And they said, "We really should have one musical artist on the bill to perform." And they chose me. And so that was sort of the next stop on the train. And there've been a few moments like that. And of course, we just did Light of Day together, and they had me perform, they do full band solo, and they put me all the way at the end as the last solo performer. And again, it's just been a blessing. Uh, Not just because Bruce is one of my heroes, but because I have a lot of respect for him on a lot of fronts. Uh, First of all, I've learned to have the bravery to speak my mind about things and try to not alienate people while I do so, because he has this amazing gift of keeping people at the table while sticking his neck out for things. It's a very truly rare gift. I remember seeing Bruce perform American Skin in New York City and seeing all of these NYPD people turn their back to the stage. And then 15 minutes later, they're all dancing to Rosalita. And I thought, what's the most interesting about that isn't them turning their backs, it's the fact that they stayed in the room and danced after that.
Mm.
I've learned a lot about and not just performing, but how to conduct myself as a human being from him. But beyond that, when I talk about stage IQ, he's one of the masters, and he sets a high bar, and I've learned a lot from him as a performer. I learn every time. And the fact that he blessed Low Cut Connie, just like Elton, just like a number of people have, it's been really encouraging and validating because it can be lonely out here as an artist, and sometimes you don't know if you're doing the right thing. But his encouragement has meant a lot to me.
Well,
Adam,
it's well deserved, Adam.
Thank
They don't, it's one thing for us to say it, but again, not to blow smoke, but you've earned that in every sense of the word. You deliver. Definitely deliver.
Thank you, Howie.
Adam, that's one thing that impresses me about seeing you. Just like Bruce. Like Bruce takes us up, brings us down, takes us back up, brings us down. It's that roller coaster, and you do that. I'm not saying you know that you're doing that on that purpose, but you do the same thing. Like you know when to bring it up, you know when to bring it down, and all that kind of stuff. So it's very impressive to watch.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, man.
How about the standing up at the piano? That's what I've always noticed about you. You're standing. Is that from Elton John? Is that something you started yourself?
I'm Jerry Lee Jewish, baby. Come on.
That's
Really? You have to come up. You have had three things that you
Yes.
said that I wanna. Jerry Lee Jewish,
Yeah.
Jersey Tastic, and there was one other one that I forgot. But you got a nice vocabulary there, my man. I
Right.
love it.
Love it, Jerry Lee. Right, right.
I
I
mean,
gotta write that
Jerry
down.
Lee.
Jerry Lee Jewish.
I'm getting that shirt. That's the shirt that I want. That's the one I'll wear that all day long. Jerry
that's
Lee Jewish. That's a song title right there.
Adam, one last question for you, and I know we know you're a busy guy, but for me, just we talked about you as a performer, obviously, but your songwriting is equally, fantastic. How do you kind of make that shift in your mind from being a performer, worrying about that end of it, to actually writing those songs and recording those songs?
I don't think too much about it. This is the part that's maybe the unsexy part. As much thought as I put into the performing and the craft with songwriting, I hate to say it, guys. It's like talking about your sex life. It's like you want to know, but you don't really want to know. You don't really want to hear about it. Uh, and basically, Ryan, there's different people that are going to tell you different things about songwriting, and here's the rules, or here's how you do it, or here's how you start, and here's how you finish. But at the end of the day, for me, a good song has to just demand my attention. It has to grab my pant leg and pull it and say, I'm here, pay attention to me. So I know there are a lot of people who labor at songwriting, and they sit down and they say, I'm gonna write for the next 2 hours, and I'm gonna light some candles, and I'm gonna read some poems. That ain't me, Ryan. I'm a busy guy. I'm working, I'm traveling, I'm meeting people, I'm just having experiences and living life every day. And when I least expect it, I feel that little tug on my pant leg that says, there's a song here, pay attention to me. And if it takes too much labor, I leave it. And sometimes it takes years, and then it pulls on my pant leg again and says, I'm still here, you should finish me. But if it doesn't happen organically like that, then I don't force it, and I don't actually think too much about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Some people I know, like the people that go and like write on Writers Row in Nashville, it's like I can't imagine walking into a room and being like, okay, today I'm gonna write 3 songs, and let's think about an idea. Like I can't imagine that. Like
I think a lot of good songs have been created that way, and I think about Motown, and I think about Philly Soul. Gamble and Huff used to basically clock in on their lunch hour and just write for an hour. I think there's a lot of great music that has been created on a deadline like that. I'm just not one of those people. Um, Maybe somebody will give me an assignment at some point. Like I'd love to score a film, and have an assignment, but that's not how I write my own songs these days.
Final question from me, Adam. Before we started, you said you're in a studio in Philadelphia. Tell us a little history of it, and is that where you record now? And the name
I'm
of
I'm sitting here right now in Milk Boy Studios, in Philadelphia. This studio has had a couple different names. Many, many, many fabulous, iconic, multi-platinum records have been recorded in this studio. My dear friend Larry Gold operated this studio and still works here. He's a guy who's been doing string arrangements for 50 years or more. He did strings on Ain't No Stopping Us Now, right? A lot of classic Philly soul in the 70s, as well as Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake and Bruno Mars. I mean, a lot. But this studio more recently has had Miley Cyrus and Lil Uzi Vert and Jasmine Sullivan. A lot of really big records from the last few years. And my new album, Livin In The USA, that comes out July 3rd, a good deal of it was done here. Um, and I record pretty often, and I'll record all over the country. I'll grab a day here, a day there, but I always finish my albums in Philly. That's how I finish. And so I'm working on some stuff now for my next album.
Nice.
I'm kind of always working on the next thing, and so I love recording. It's it feels like a vacation when I'm recording. It doesn't feel like work.
Right. And your favorite cheesesteak place in Philadelphia?
I don't eat them, I smell it all day, so I have no desire to eat it. But if you got to, um, Campo's is pretty good, and they cater to people with allergies like me. So that's my recommendation is Campo's.
All right. Thank you.
Adam,
Howie?
we've got a friend in Philly, Carrie Clancy Walton. She says, "Can your Philadelphia area spring nuts still look forward to seeing you do segments on Channel 6 ABC Action News?"
Thank you, babe. That's so cool that we have somebody that knows what that is. So a couple years ago, I got to go on Channel 6 News and play the theme song, iconic theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and I actually got to do the weather. I mean, I truly, truly hope I get to do that again this year. I'm working on it.
Dun, 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 dun. Yep.
Well, I
Great
just
theme
wanted to
song.
know
Yes.
how many how many T-shirts do you have that you get to rip them on every
Wouldn't you like to know,
performance?
Howie?
I would like to know. I mean, I did it once, and Julie almost killed me. She's like, we don't have money to throw away," and I'm like ripping my shirt like you, and I'm like, "Whoa, Julie, you could do it," but
I bet she loved it when you did that, though, Howie.
I did. She did. She did. She won't admit it, but she did. I will say this, but one of my favorite things that forgot to mention before is, and we've had Vinny Lopez on the show, and we talked about a great um, version of Incident on 57th Street you guys did, and I've seen you do it solo, and I've seen him. He did. Was it Meeting Across the River? Stand that I'm thinking about,
Yeah,
or the
Vinny
kid,
did Eating
whatever.
Across the River.
He did. So we played Spirit the Night together with the whole band with him on drums. But we sang Incident on 57th Street together. And I want to paint this little picture for you as my closing story. At Monmouth University, they did a 50th anniversary of the Wild the Innocent E Street Shuffle, which, by the way, I love so many Bruce records, but it's still my favorite one. It's that second album. And Incident on 57th Street has always been one of my favorite Bruce songs.
Mine
And I
too.
and I got a phone call saying, "Would you like to perform that song at this, thing that they're doing at the university?" And I didn't understand that this was something that Bruce was going to be there, and David Sanchez and Gary and Vinny, the whole crew, were all there, and they were given an interview, and then they played the record, and I did Incident, and it had an added nerve-wracking factor in that Bruce was sitting there watching me do it. And that's an experience I'd never had before, is performing a song written by somebody where they're sitting there watching me do it. And Incident in 57th Street's kind of a tough song. It's got about 9,000 words. It's like learning the fucking Odyssey.
Ah,
It's
yeah.
like, you know, it's like Moby Dick of songs. And it just so happened that right before I went on stage, I met Vinny for the first time. And as I'm speaking to him about that, he's talking to me about how he and Clarence sang the original girl parts on that song,
Mm,
the high harmonies.
mm.
That's Clarence and Vinny. And it just came out of my mouth. I said, Vinny, you want to do it with me? And he said, all right, I'll give it a try. And I encourage people to go see it on YouTube. It was a really special
Yeah,
moment.
it was a great moment.
And beautiful song. And we were doing it over 50 years after it came out. And that's one thing that really inspires me, guys, is how songs span time and they grow in stature in some cases. And they mean more sometimes later than they do when they come out. And it was beautiful. And I hope, guys, that we have a lot more magic moments together like that. Thanks for having me on this. It's great talking about all this stuff. Everybody who's watching at home, love you guys. I want you to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep sharing music together, and get activated, whatever that means to you. Get activated. 2025, everyone I know was depressed. 2026 is a year to get activated. And if music is the thing that activates you, if protesting is the thing that activates you, if being with your friends, if exercise, if volunteering, being part of a community, whatever it is that activates you, do it. And let's do it together. And you guys do a great job with your Spring Nuts, staying
Thank you.
activated and keeping people activated. Uh, and so with that, I'm going to say goodnight, and I can't wait to see you all out there on the road with your Spring Nuts hats and t-shirts. And thanks for having me, fellas.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Adam.
Ryan.
Thank you,
Thank
Adam.
you, Adam.
You, Adam, only the good things, and give our love to your father, and thank you for everything, and thank you for doing the show with us. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Wow. Time for our after show. Wow. Wow.
That
Yes.
was a great
He's
show.
fantastic.
Very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. We always look at our numbers to see if we're going down at the end. The numbers kept going up with the number of people watching here. That was so interesting. That was
No,
great.
he's very deliberate with what he's thinking
Yeah.
about. He's thinking about what he wants to say. He's saying it in a very articulate way. Yes, Jerry, are you Jewish? Stage IQ, and what was the third one you said, Howard?
No, it was Jersey. It was Jersey Tastic or something.
New Jersey Tastic or
Jersey
something. Yeah,
Jersey Tastic. But there was one other one I totally forgot. But definitely the ones I made that I just named was great ones to have the T-shirt right there.
Wouldn't it be a natural tie-in for him to be sponsored by Hanes? Like, this tour brought to you by Hanes.
Legit, like I was saying, I looked at I was trying to find a picture to post for the follow up today. I'm like, oh my god, he's like, how many guy rips a shirt every show? Oh my god.
He buys them in bulk. He gets them 100 at a time.
Right, like you're like a special deal or something. But let me ask you a question, Ryan. Is that shirt that you're wearing from his show?
Yeah, I bought it just a couple weeks ago when
I
Mary
want to
and
get
saw
it.
him. It's
I didn't see that. I
yeah,
want to
it's
get
great.
that
It's
shirt.
a great
That's
shirt.
very cool.
Jersey-tastic. I
Very
think
cool.
that's what he said.
Jersey Tastic.
Jersey.
Thank you, Nancy Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyone who's ever met Adam, I've seen him at Danny Clinch's gallery at Stone Pond. He's so friendly. He'll take any picture you want, sign any autographs. So very accessible. And I remember I was at Danny's gallery and he walked in. I was like, "Wow, Adam Weiner's here." Then it was like, he's just one of us. He's like, "Hi, how are you?" And Howie, like you, I sat next to him and his dad at the American Music Honors that year, and he was introducing me to his dad. He didn't really know me
His
that
dad
well.
is a
Yeah,
gem. It's just such a nice, beautiful guy. You know, this was we're talking about like that first American Music Awards was like we're talking about 4 years ago now,
Yeah,
4
4
something like
years.
years
that.
ago.
This
Yeah,
was the
so
fourth
like
year.
yeah, so and just remember meeting them and just it was just he's a great guy. He's just like it's I know I repeat this every show and I'm sorry if I'm repeating, but all these we'll consider them Asbury, even though he's from Philly. These artists that play in the Asbury music scene, they all have that same thing about them. It's not just about the music, how good they are, and how talented they are. It's how personable they are, and and again, we've all seen concerts, we've all been around, we've all done our things, but you know what? There's nothing that comes close. Not even in New York. Not even in New York. There's nothing that comes close to the Jersey music scene where you can go and see a show, whether it be Light of Day or go to the Pony, or go to the whatever you do, and then after the show's over, you're gonna sit there and talk with with them. You can sit with them. They're not looking to run away from you. They're not looking to there's no ego, there's no nothing. They're glad to be with you. It's something that's very special, and we definitely shouldn't take it for granted, because I mean, I don't know about anybody else, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, as far as my experiences are concerned, there's nothing that I've ever witnessed that in any other city that comes close to it.
That's why I've never moved. I've lived here my whole life.
Oh, now
Julie's trying to get. Go ahead, Rich.
now I know why you guys are in a good mood. Knicks are way up on this one.
Yeah,
Nick,
yeah, that was on screen number
yeah,
two for me. So
yeah, they're up by 15 and a half. So I already cashed out my bet. I'm taking my profit already. So
you know what? You know something? There were times where I was like, when you guys, I was like, yes,
yeah,
like when I told them to go, it's like, and I had to, and I'm cheap thinking, I'm on the show, I'm on the show,
I
take
Dave,
kept
this
peeking till
now,
I left. It's halftime now.
rein
So.
it in, and I'm like, that's not a foul. And I
So
can just
Ryan,
imagine like,
no, I was gonna say Ryan
I,
tomorrow night will be streaming, right, Ryan, from Chicago, the United Center.
right behind the singers. I'm in the first row, right behind the singers. I got a drop yesterday for
All
200
right,
bucks.
great.
nice, good for you. Is Mary going too?
Mary will be there.
Good.
It's my daughter's birthday yesterday, so that was what she
Happy
wanted for her
birthday.
birthday.
You should have
So
told us. We give a spring that shout out. I'm still doing birthdays for people that told me I missed it in January, so might as well. So I might as well just put anybody in at this point.
Oh, no, it's
no, he
good.
was
Yeah,
he was he was a great guy. He's a great guy, great musician, very down to earth, very
yeah,
personable.
really good.
Mm,
Great stories. We get a lot of great stories on here. That's
yeah.
good.
That's
That's good.
that's the story he told about meeting Bruce. Like, what is going on? And
Yeah.
Right.
Dave to, I remember that interview that Dave did with Adam, and Jim interviewed Adam at the Clinch Gallery one year when he was doing the Wild and Innocent there. So yeah, Dave's been a big promoter from day one.
Mm, mm.
Oh,
Oh, all
Well,
right.
Howie, anything we need to let everybody know about out there in
Well, we
Springnut
can give it.
Land?
I think we can announce if we're okay with it. We can announce our next show coming up. I mean, there's no reason to hold it back. I mean, we'll put out our normal thing, but if people are still on here, and let's see, we got
We got
we
38
got
people still.
all right. Listen, so our next show will be Monday night, and it's going to be a nice one because we're going to be talking about a lot of things that are coming up. Our next show will be with the great Eileen Chapman from the Stan. How do we pronounce it these days?
Springsteen Center for American Music. That's the
Yeah.
official name now, not the archives anymore.
Yep. And we're gonna be talking about everything that's coming up, not just, with Spring Nuts stuff, but also obviously what's going on in their world, which is a ton right now. Just to answer Lynn Foreman, I know a lot of people have this question. Yes, the emails will be going out in a couple of weeks. Don't worry. It's just that the only reason why there's a holdup right now is that because they're not up and running yet. Okay, so they're doing this and we're doing this with them, and they don't even have the doors open yet. So the thing is that they're also, when I say that, they're also working on the technology part, which is the ticketing system that will be going out. And we just need to, once that is up and running, I will send out the emails with the link that the people from the Serenade can, register and whatever. Don't worry, it's coming. You'll have plenty of time to do it. We're still a month away, but I also want to be, I want to be sensitive to the fact that they are still working on 100 things for their opening, and don't worry, it will come. It's just, you'll get an email of updates, and I'll update in the group as we come along. But everything will be fine, guys. It's
Yeah,
gonna
and
be a very, very
Eileen
special.
Chapman is great. You'll get all your questions answered. That's who I always go to when I need to find out something and hear more about the June 4th and June 5th shows at Monmouth University, which are all sold out. It's a very, very tough ticket.
And on a serious note, when she's on there, please don't ask silly questions, things that she can't
Well,
answer. Don't
you
beg
can
her for
you can ask
tickets.
it. We're not. You can ask it. We're not going to answer. We're
Yeah,
not going
we're
to
not
ask
gonna.
it. So,
So,
Can you
but
tell Bruce to go to the Serenade, Eileen, right? You have a direct line to Bruce, right? Tell him
and
to.
I will say this: if Eileen's information is out there, she has an email address with the university. If you want to talk to Eileen and ask her a very specific question, feel free to do that. But we're not going to ask that on the.
and
Hey,
don't but and
Howie.
definitely don't ask and definitely don't ask it on behalf of Spring Nuts.
Yes,
Okay,
Howie.
ever.
A lady named Sue Wyatt is asking, and several people have sent me
Yeah.
messages about this. Is there somewhere that people can go to order Spring Nut T-shirts? Like, I don't know what to
Yeah, so
tell
I'm
these
sorry.
people.
So I know we've been getting that, but I've been I mean really wrapped up with the Serenade. It's a lot of moving pieces, and day by day, because of all the moving pieces that we're dealing with, I just didn't have time. But so the thing is that, okay, so the Serenade shirts have been ordered. Those are the We are working on new apparel. Okay, that will be, we will put out soon, but it's taking time, because we're working on the Serenade, which has to take the precedent right now because there's so much writing on it, and you guys paid money for a good
Yeah.
weekend, and we need to
So
deliver.
so eventually
So
there will be merch that people can buy outside of the Serenade. That there will be merch that people can buy.
correct, and
Did you
and
used to
and
have a website?
at
Because
one
that's what
point.
people keep asking me. Like,
No,
what's the
so the
website?
website, no, we took it off the way because again, people order. We can't handle it right now. We
Just the
just
two
don't
of you.
have.
Yeah.
We have the resources right now to start doing orders and shipping things out. So what we have is like, when we closed down well, we didn't close, the warehouse closed down, and we have the remnants of our merchandise in one of our friends' garage right now, and but they're all sporadic sizes and stuff, so they're not. If you want to reach out to me, and and ask me what tell me your size, I could tell you what we have. Most probably, if I have to be off the top of my head, it's going to be a university shirt that we had, the Spring Nut University shirts, or some of the old Serenade stuff. That's basically what we have left. So if that answers the question, I can send you a picture of it. And again, I apologize if I haven't gotten back to you. It's just, between my real work job that I do have,
What? You have a job and
yes,
a life, and
yes,
you can't
yes,
respond to 1,000 messages a day?
no, I try to, but Julie does. Julie and I do like to eat, so food needs to go on the table. So that's the way we pay for it, and the serenade is got to take precedent. But it is coming. I assure you, God willing, short time we will have a website or something. New mantra shirts are coming soon. It's we're working on that first because that's the biggest demand that we've gotten, and we're just updating our for every fresh shirt, which is from 2016 to the 2026 version. 10 years later. So yeah, just sit tight and we'll get something out. And everyone, if you ever have any questions, don't you have to ask Ryan about the shirts. He also has a day job, believe it or not.
I don't mind. I just don't know what to tell people. I
Hey,
got. I'm like,
I really I know,
I'm
I hear you.
retired, so-
Right.
but I've had a lot of tours lately, though. The tours
Stan,
have
if
been
you're
very busy.
retired, you could take on that job. You be
Oh
the
yeah,
t-shirt.
yeah.
You be the t-shirt guy.
Hey, I guess some of you saw they just announced this morning Bruce is doing a talk with Bono as part of the Tribeca Film Festival in New York on Saturday, June 13th. And
What are
also, Robert
they?
De Niro and Patti Smith are going to be there. So he's not playing, but it's sold out right away. But they do have what they call rush tickets, which means you can
You
line
sold
up.
out already?
Yeah, yeah. It's only a 900 seat theater.
I didn't even know they were on sale. They just announced it today.
They just announced it today. They put them on sale with really not much. Someone tipped me off, so I was able. I'm sorry, I only put in for two. I didn't know how many I could get, but then I checked 5 minutes later and they were all gone. So
Is there a
yeah.
movie coming out or something, Stan?
Now
Like
Bruce is
why?
going to receive an award. Let me read this. Bruce is going to receive the 2026 Harry Belafonte Voices for Social Justice Award.
Hmm.
So, and he's going to be presented by, I guess, Bono, and then Robert De Niro and Patti Smith will also be there to pay tribute to Bruce's legacy.
That was
Wow.
good because for sure it won't be political this
Yes. But yeah, it's only a 900 seat theater, so it sold out. I was able to get right in. I got tipped off, but it's looks like a great day. Bruce, always more Bruce stuff. Every time you turn around, there's more
I
Bruce
know,
stuff.
like
Dude.
we were talking about it the other day. Like, you remember when Bruce was never doing interviews and
Yeah.
never you couldn't get to the guy and all of that. Now he's like all over the place.
Yeah.
He knows, like you said, that the train's coming down the tracks and that light focuses your attention, and you realize there's only so many days, so he's gonna do everything he can.
Right? Yeah, he's been doing. Yeah.
Stan, I wanted to
Well,
share the story about Patty with Adam, but obviously he had a lot to say. That was so funny. At the honors award, Max gives his fucking 15-minute rambling. No, it was. I'm sorry. I should back up. I'm not trying to insult Max. Very intelligent, very eloquent. I love it when he talks. That was not the time or place to talk for 15 minutes about a 3-year window of the band's career. Anyway, Patty gets up there and says, I wasn't going to say anything, but now that I'm up here, now I kind of feel I understand why everybody keeps talking because you just feel like you feel good. You want to share all your thoughts. And then Max getting inducted. Okay, I'm going to keep it short. Oh, thank God.
People cheered, and even Bruce went,
you know
"Thank you."
what? I didn't watch the whole thing. Obviously, I wasn't there, but I'm saying that I didn't put one and one together. So I didn't know when he said I'm going to keep it short. It was because he spoke so much beforehand.
It was
So I didn't
literally
even
15
reflect it.
minutes. Like
Yeah,
it
and
was not.
and everybody else, I think Jimmy Iovine, Dr. Dre, Bruce Dionne Warwick, they were 2 to 3 minutes, right to the point, and Max just kept going on and on. It was interesting, but it was like it's not just the band, literally the band tonight. John Desmore was Steve Van Zandt was 2 to 3 minutes, and Max is just going and going, and you saw everybody going, "Is this going to end?" Yes, and then Levon Helm's daughter, what's her first name, Ryan?
Amy, I
Amy,
think. Yeah.
Amy, yeah, Helm just gets up and says, "Thank you very much. It's my privilege to accept this award." That was it,
That's
like
it.
10
That was it.
words.
Yeah, so Julie said that Bruce is ubiquitous. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
Ubiquitous.
I don't know. I have to
Nice.
look that up, Julie. I know the word, but tell us what it
Oh,
means.
if you don't know it, then I don't feel so stupid.
No, I don't know a lot of words. That's why I say I always write like a sixth grader. You never see big words from me. People
Oh,
say, "Oh, why do so many people read your posts?" 'Cause
Oh,
they
it
think,
means he's everywhere. Like
okay,
plastic bags are everywhere. They're ubiquitous, like all
okay,
over the place.
yeah,
yeah, that would be a spelling bee question.
Wow,
yeah.
Julie, that's a
All right, Julie.
Julie.
Yeah.
Props for Julie for that.
So I say I get so many hits because I don't use big words. I write like a sixth grader. It's very easy to read my stuff. I always
Yeah,
hate when I read the New York Times review and it's like, I don't know what that word means. I have to look it up.
I do love Max. I didn't mean to like be
no, I
insulting.
love Max
I
too.
love Max, but like that was not the time or place for
I'll
that.
give you. Actually, I'll give you one story. So there was during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Awards back when they inducted the E Street Band itself. I remember Kiss when I think it was Gene Simmons, or yeah, probably it was Gene Simmons. Sounds like something like he would say. He was like going off on the fact that each band member got to talk like for like 10 minutes, and they're like eight of them on. So I was
Oh,
like.
Hall and Oates said something too.
Oh,
Yes,
was it Hall and Oates? Maybe it
it's
was
Hall and
them.
Oates.
It could have been
Yeah,
Hall and Oates. It could
yeah,
have been. I
and
remember someone.
we won't mention names because one of them is very, very close to all of us. But two people spoke much, much too long that night. That's all I'm going to say. If you were there, you know what I mean. But yes, yes.
Alright.
All right, so Eileen is on Monday night.
Eileen is, yeah, but it's a be very, very cool show. A lot of info gonna come out, and that's our next show. And we got a bunch of guests lined up coming up, but we're not gonna announce those yet. But definitely, Eileen Chapman is next.
Good,
And then
good.
more info will come when it's available about the sneak peek at the museum.
And also, people have been asking me, which we can ask Eileen, someone who's not going to Serenade, but when can they start buying tickets? Is it for Sunday, June 7th? And how will that work? When will they go on sale
All
to
right.
see the archives? So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Excuse me, the Bruce Springsteen Center for American Music.
Dude,
That
I'm
is
just gonna say the museum, the Bruce Museum. That's all I'm
the
gonna
Bruce
say because
Museum.
I can't.
I was told that came from Bruce himself, that he didn't want archives in the name. It's the Bruce Springsteen Center for American Music. Yes,
Interesting.
yes.
Yeah,
All right.
show tomorrow night in Chicago. I will be streaming publicly, and then what? Atlanta on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I'll be in, how are you going to Long Island next Tuesday? UBS?
No,
No,
I'm only going to MSG 1 and Brooklyn.
okay. I'll be at
So
UBS Tuesday. So see how that goes. It's kind of crazy. I was talking to Ryan this morning. If you look at the way the tour, they were in Florida, went to Texas, now they're all the way up to Chicago. They got to go all the way back down to Atlanta. So,
yeah.
and all the way back up to Long Island. So,
How many shows they got left? There's not. There's
I think 11. I think the show the
oh,
other
no,
night was 9, number 9.
oh, a lot.
Se-
They still have 11
Yeah.
left. Okay.
Seems like we were
Brooklyn's still a
just
tough
All
ticket.
right.
Both MSGs are still a tough ticket. Chicago tickets, like Ryan said, tickets opened up in Chicago right behind the stage. Philadelphia's had a lot of open tickets lately too. And so it's I think Boston's still very tough too. And Washington D.C. is the final show is very difficult. So
which is surprising since it's a stadium and there's twice as many
yeah,
tickets for that as there is for a arena
yeah.
show.
I was looking, GAs are going for like $1,100, and you figure there's 5 times as many GAs as an arena, maybe. So
I tell
wow.
you what, just once it gets rolling, like just seems like yesterday we were, oh my God, we're hearing about a tour. Is there going to be a tour? When is the tour? Oh my God, there's going to be an announcement. Tickets, blah, 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 blah. Here we are. We're halfway through the tour. It's going to be over before we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we know. So let's see if he does Clamp Down tomorrow night. That was the change. He left that out in Austin. So
Stan, this is my vote. I really was hoping that after the honors, that he would end the show with the Patti Smith song,
yeah,
just to get the crowd involved, like just to
yeah,
have a big sing along, get everybody fired up and singing on the way out. Maybe, maybe not.
maybe you could
That's
lead
my
the
You know
call.
what?
encores with it, then do um, American Land too. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm hoping that the next couple of shows that Bruce will break out like Rocky Ground, and there was one other song that I know that
Across
he
the border and
Across the
Across
way.
the
Ground.
Yeah, he
Way.
did rehearse those. He did rehearse
Yeah,
those. And they did sound check Rosalita in LA. So
Well, I mean, again, I can get the Rosalita thing, whatever, I've seen it and it's fun and all that. But I'm saying if you're gonna go with the tour, theme, Rocky Ground would be a great,
yeah,
I'd love to see
Michelle.
Michelle.
Michelle Moore. Our girl Michelle. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to see her get her time up there too. And it's a great song. I mean, I
Yeah,
actually liked it when they
absolutely.
did it on the tour that it came out.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Julie.
All
I
right, the
see you're
Knicks are up
comment.
60.
We won't comment on that, but yes. Yes.
Oh my
People.
God, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Maybe we should end it on that
Yeah.
note.
And on that
Yes,
note,
let's get
good
On that
night,
out of here.
note,
everybody.
On that
turn
note,
into
let's go.
Ryan tomorrow. He'll be streaming all
Sweet
his
home
commentary.
Chicago. Sweet home Chicago.
Yes. So I bet you get 800 followers tomorrow there and more.
Yes, my running commentary. I'm
Yes.
hoping to like every show I've gone. Well, this is only my third show. I want to be like in my seat by 7 o'clock tomorrow, 8 o'clock your time, so I can like look around, get acclimated, and not be rushed. I've been rushed to the 2 shows I've gone to.
Mohawk. All right.
Mohawk.
Mohawk. All right. Good night, Howie. The Knicks are back on. So
I know. And then Sixers won tonight too.
did they really? Wow.
Yeah, so they're forcing Game 6. At
Oh
least they're
wow.
keeping. At
They
least
won
they're
in Boston.
keeping.
I hate to
They're
ask this,
leaving.
but if the Knicks win, what does that mean for?
Well, it's going to be 3-2, and then they still get. But the whole thing is that this. It definitely that MSG show can definitely be affected. It's definitely much in play. Well, as of now, it's still in play. If they make the second round, it's definitely in play.
Oh yeah.
So,
They're
and
going
they
to make
want to
the
make it.
second round. This was
I
a
hope so.
game tonight. Yeah. So, and
Well, they
everybody
need.
who
Well,
keeps
it's
asking,
only in the third quarter.
no one's going to know until the Celtics. Is that who they play next, Howie? Would it be the Celtics or
Yeah,
six?
the Celtics. Yeah,
Yeah.
Whoever wins the Celtics.
No one knows anything until they announce
Yeah,
it.
it's way
Can't
too
guess.
early.
Yes.
And for the record, I want the Knicks to win. I am glad to postpone that concert anytime to see the Knicks go further in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All
I
right.
don't care if you take my card away. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you
Thank
for
you all.
joining us.
Thank you. See you tomorrow, Ryan.
Yep.
Watching you tomorrow.
All right.
Have fun. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. Do 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 do. Ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means present, appearing or found everywhere simultaneously, often describing widespread, common, or highly accessible things. It is derived from the Latin ubique, everywhere, and is used to describe items like smartphones, fast food, or internet connectivity that are so common they seem to be everywhere all at once. Ubiquitous. That's an interesting name. Ubiquitous. Oh, I did not drop. How do you have those backdrops? Good. Hello, Jeff Weisberger. Kathy Richards, good to see you. Kathy, if you use Zoom, there's a way to do a virtual background, like in the settings. You can basically just download a picture to save it to your desktop. You do the virtual background, and you can put any picture you want back there. That is a good picture of Adam. Not blowing smoke, Adam is a great performer, great musician, great piano player. He really knows how to work the crowd, obviously. All right, I am out of here. Everybody have a good night. For those of you that know my streams, I will not streaming tomorrow. I'll be streaming tomorrow night at the show, and then I'll be streaming Thursday morning. Hopefully Mary Jones is joining me. to talk about the show, and I'll try to do a post-show breakdown once we get in the van. I'm giving some people a ride back to their hotel. All right, I am out of here. Everybody have a good night. Kathy, good to see you. Glad you're back at it. Carol O'Neill, have a good night. I will see everybody down the road. Adios, muchachos.